Okay guys, so we're in part 3 of our editing training, and we're actually going into the fine editing. So as you can see, if I extend my area here, my zoom area, I am chopping through the rest of the footage, and I'm almost to the end of what I think are highlights. And you can see my clips here. I've set apart some on layer 2. This is how I edit. I have some on layer 2 for whatever reason I want to set them apart, and then I just cut out my highlights on layer 3. I wanted to just make mention of something really quickly. When we brought in our footage from our edit bin, from the camera to the edit bin, let me just make this bigger where you can see this list. If we scroll to the top, Premiere labels it sequentially. So notice this is 0001, 0002, and then the rest of the letters 0003, 000, and you can see that. Sorry, it's popping up the little window beside it, but you can watch how it moves up sequentially. So that should be, and if we keep going, it's 0025, 0026, 27, 0028. It moves up sequentially, but when we dropped it in the timeline editor, if I go all the way to the end, somehow I got some 0008, and so that's what you're seeing here. So if I move this back and resize this is obviously earlier in the day, and this is later in the day. And if I was to zoom in where you could see this clip name, this is 0039. And this is 0008. So this happened before this. So be aware of that. At first, I just thought that that somebody forgot to take off the neutral density filters on the camera, and then they realized it here. But in fact, I was wrong. Premiere, when we laid in the clips, for some reason it didn't get them in there sequentially the right way. It got confused, and so these clips that are lighter are actually happened earlier in the day, and these that are darker happened later. Later in the day. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your highlight. You may want to reorder those clips. So I've got a little bit more to do, and then so I'm going to pause this and then come back in just a second for your second training. Alright guys, so we're going to continue here. Now what I've got is I've got my clips, and I've got them in trimmed down to what I want from my rough editing. Basically what I've decided is this is what I like, and this is what I want to keep. As you can see, the clips are still out of order. We got 008s down here, 003s. So right here there's a break where I need to insert these 008s that are right here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a trick. Okay, so I'm going to highlight both of these for moving clips, and you want to be able to insert them into another place. If I come over here and I just drop them where they should go, this clip right here says 007 something, and then the next clip says 0008. If I just drop them there, it overwrites. It just deleted all those clips underneath. So we obviously don't want to do that. We want to smush them in here and have all these shift down to get out of the way. So how we're going to do that is we're going to take and come here and slide down to where we want it to go, and it's going to snap. Remember that snapping thing I was talking about? Those are those little white flags that are popping up. Like whenever it just kind of snaps to the point where there's already a natural cut. So as you can see, I'm trying to slide it smoothly, but it's snapping. If I take snapping off by hitting S, see, I can slide it anywhere I want, and it doesn't get those white flags when it gets close to a break or a natural break. So keep snapping on. It'll make sure that there's no gaps in your footage. So alright, so what we want to do is we want to insert these clips in here without overriding what's underneath it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Control. If you'll watch my cursor, I've got a little black arrow with two little clip signs and that little yellow down arrow. Watch when I hit Control, and you see that arrow changes. That arrow right there changes from going down to an overlay, and it goes to an insert. So I'm just going to insert those there, and when I drop it, as you can see, it just shifted all these clips down. So let's look through these a little bit better. Okay, we got 0003, 4, 7, 8. Now we go to 001, 002, 002, 0021, 0021, 22, 003, 4, 41, 43. Oh, here we go, 38. So 38 and 39 are in the wrong space. So let's just go ahead and do that same thing. So again, if I drag it down here where it would be in order, and if I just drop it, if I just left it right here, it's gonna erase all of this clip here. Well, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to drag it here. Watch the cursor one more time. It's going to snap in place. Hold Control, and it bumps it all down. So it slid everything down. Same thing. Let's do this one. 39. Control and bump it down. Okay. So now we've got this. We said that we wanted our video to be anywhere from 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, and we're right there at that. Okay. Alright, so now what we got to do, the next step, obviously we got some color issues here. We got things that are at different brightness levels and stuff. We're going to fix that in just a second. But let's go ahead and just kind of play these back, and what we're going to do now is trim these down to what we want them to be. So we got this coming out. Okay, I think I'm going to have this as a title intro. Right here we've got this of them warming up. We got the two schools. Okay. They're all kind of starting. We're just showing we're just kind of establishing that there's a game coming on. Okay. All these starts with a snap, it ends with a tackle. See how that was a lot of room, and that just seems like such a small issue, but boom, if we stop right there or even just a little bit after it, there's that much room. And when you're talking about that was almost 1 second of video that you talk when you're taking it off. So when you're talking about getting an hours plus of footage down to 30 seconds, I mean 1 minute and 30 seconds or 2 minutes, that 1 second, it adds up over time. So we're going to cut that out. We're going to continue through just trimming off just what we have to have. There was a hike and there's a tackle. Boom, that's all we need. Here, look, there's another second right there. Okay, there's a hike and a tackle, and it cut right after tackle, so that one was good. Alright, that was good there. Got a whole second right there. Just watching these through. Tackle, don't need any more of that. 30 seconds, or half a second, excuse me. Got quarterback scrambling and sacked. Okay, so we just come right along here. We even here, we've got a little bit of time where if we were really trying to trim off, we could trim off this little bitty bit, and it all adds up to the end. And it cuts right after that. It's looking good. Good hit there. We could have a really good replay there too. If we wanted to replay this hit. I think I trimmed a little too much off of this. So okay, so what we're going to do is just continue to trim these off. We got just a few more to do. So that was a big run. That's good. Oh, we got an interception. Alright, so that's going to be the end of our highlights. So if you look through here, I'm just going to right click and ripple delete. Right click, ripple delete. Right click, ripple delete. Just ripple delete again. Let me zoom in. There's a Premiere gets to be a pain sometimes whenever it won't let you just ripple delete. So just going through here and ripple deleting these to get rid of the spaces so that they run seamlessly in between one to another. Okay, and when you go to look now, we've trimmed out a pretty good bit of time just from that rough editing there. So we go through here now. The hard part is trying to formulate what we want to keep and what we don't want to keep. Okay, so I'm going to go through here. I'm going to pause the video, and what you got to do is just watch these clips, like especially in the beginning. Once the football game starts, you know, you need to have, you know, the clips you have are what you have. You know, if you're way over time, like if you're told that you can only have, let's say that we're only going to have this to 1 minute and 30 seconds. Okay, so I'm looking at this bar right here, the playhead position, and I'm on. Okay guys, notice that when I hit the step forward button, that it changes these two different numbers. That's how you would know to be exactly 1 minute and 30 seconds. Use this step forward button right here, and I'm stepping forward to exactly 1 minute and 30 seconds. So I'm going to tell myself that's all we have for this project. So I've got to get rid of this much footage here. So what I've got to do is go through here and decide what is non-essential. What can I get rid of? And it's probably some of this stuff in the beginning. So we got the guys coming out. Okay, let's watch this all the way up to, then we got them working out here. Okay, if this clip was better, we might use it. I like this shot here of Alexander throwing the ball and catching it. Chapel Hill breaking. That shows kind of, since we don't have them running through, we want to show that it's a game, so we've got the people there. So I think I want to get rid of this shot here and maybe trim down some of these other ones. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here and figure out what clips I don't want, what I need to cut out, what I need to trim to get my video to end at exactly 1 minute and 30 seconds. So so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to trim it down, get it to 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then I will come back and we'll do the next step. Okay, so I've got it trimmed down to exactly my minute and 30 seconds. I took out a few clips that I didn't like. So now what we're going to do, the next step is we're going to color grade. Okay, color grade or color correct actually is the more appropriate term. So to color grade, we're just going to basically set the colors to the appropriate to be appropriate. So you can see this color looks good, these don't look so good. That's because the white balance was off. So when you learn about white balance, that's where that comes from. So I'm going to come down here and find my effects palette. I like to move my effects palette up here where I can find my effects, and I put it right beside effects controls. So we're going to use a curves adjustment. So I'm going to put in curves, and in this very first one, the second one right here, RGB curves is what we're going to use. Now to add an effect, it's really easy, but before we add this effect, let me talk to you a little bit about why we use the camera we use. So when we're using the big camera, the HPX 170, since it's a professional camera, what it records to, which is DVC Pro HD, has better color representation, and it has more bit depth and data. So we're going to talk about that more later. But the great thing about using the 170s, and why we want to use them as much as possible, is when we want to color correct, we have the ability to do that. It has just more information and data there. So I dropped the curves adjustment down on here. Okay, obviously it hasn't done anything yet, but what we're going to do, and I'm going to go through this kind of quick. This is not really a level 1 thing. This is more of a level 2 and above, but I want you to know, kind of what to do and how to do this. But what I'm going to do is I put my curves effect, and if I click on my clip and I go to effect controls, here's my RGB curves right here. So let me make that bigger where you can see it. So we got RGB curves, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my program monitor here, and I'm going to switch the output to RGB parade. Okay, and when I do that, this monitor right here tells me my levels are off. So that kind of bluish kind of hue is because I've got more blue in my shot and I've got red lower. These should be kind of even. So I'm going to do a quick tweak and then you're going to be able to see the difference. Okay, so we're going to bring our reds up some so they match a little bit better, and I'm going to bring my blues down, stretch those down to balance. Basically I'm just trying to adjust these so that they look the same. That's kind of my goal. As you can see, I have a big stripe of red down here that I don't have in these, but it will look closer whenever we get the final project. We never want to take it too far and do too much, but now that I've got these kind of balanced out, pull the blues down just a little bit. When we flip back to our composite video, it looks better. Is it 150% perfect? Nope, it's not. But as you can see, it's better than what it was. So so that's the starting point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, and once we're here, we can do some other things, some other tricks. Like I can bring down the brightness value so it's not so bright, and play with some of these adjustments so it looks a little bit closer to these other clips. This other clips has got, we're going to do some other secondary color correctors, but this gets us at least close. That's what it was before, that's what it is now. So basically I'm going to click on this effect and I'm going to hit Control C to copy it, and I'm going to click on the next clip that also needs a little love, and I'm going to hit V to paste it, and as you can see it fixes that too. See how his jersey is more white? If with this clip selected, I can look at my effect controls, turn off this RGB curves, and you can see the difference. Okay, we can also go through here and do the three-way color corrector. So I'm going to go to Effects and go to three-way. I'm going to drop it on the first clip, come back over here, go to Effect Controls, and I'm going to twirl this up so it's out of my way. And now I've got these video scopes. Now it's going to take a while for you to understand fully how to do all this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to warm this clip up with some greens and some oranges. And the term warm it up, this is kind of a bluish tint. It's kind of cooler color. This is kind of a more greenish orangish tint, and it's a warmer color, we say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go through here and move this mid-tone. This is the low lights, highlights. These are our mid-tones. So we're going to take these and just move them out. And just adjust them so that they look, so it matches the other clips a little better. Okay, so that's getting me closer to this one. As you can see with it off, if I was to cut both of those off, you can tell the big difference. So we want to get it closer, so I'm going to take this, and I'm also going to Control C, and I'm going to copy it to this clip, hit Control V, and as you can see, we're getting a little closer. We need to take the blue, the highlights too, need to be warmed up a little bit. So these highlight areas, you can see how the light, these are still blue. The white here has still got a bluish tint to it. So I'm going to take these highlights and warm them up, extend them over as well. And we can even move some of the darker tones that way as well. And also, to hide that, what we could do is we could throw an effect on all these to you know, make it interesting. Okay, this whole beginning could be like a title intro. all the way up to this game. So alright, so let me show you a couple of quick things with effects, because this is a big thing. As you can see, I've already shown you how to drop effects on. So up here in our source monitor, remember this can be a source, like if we want to scrub a piece of video. It can be source monitor, effect controls, how we control our effects, our actual effects palette. We can throw effects on it, you know, and our audio mixer. So let me just go through this real quick. There are 4 types of effects that you can do. Okay, there are audio effects like reverbs, delays, you know, echoes, stuff like that. There are audio transitions. And the difference between an effect and a transition is that the transition goes in between 2 clips and the audio effects lays within the clip. So you'll see that in just a second. Then we have video effects and video transitions. So there are video effects like black and white, like hypertense to colors or something. There's video transitions like flips and turns and dips to black and stuff like that. So let's just go through here. Let me show you how to drop these on. The video effects are the easiest to see in transitions, but they work the same as the audio transitions. So let's go into video effects here. You can either look through the list here. Eventually you'll learn where stuff's at. But it takes you a little while. Then you'll learn to memorize them after a while. So let's just say that I didn't want these hypertense and stuff that we put on, or the effect. Let's say that I did not know how to do that color correction yet, and I had this blue and this was green, and it just doesn't match. It just doesn't look good. Then what we would do is you could put on a tint. So you could type in tint, and when I type in tint, I could come in here, and when I drop that on tint, all you do is take the little part here, the name of it, and then you just drop it, and you see the fist turns into a plus sign, and you just drop it on it. So this one is right here. Take tint here, and I'm just going to drop it on the beginning. Actually, we could come in here, since we got the red, white, and blue stars and stripes. We could do leave color. So we could type in leave there. And again, you're going to learn these. And I need to delete the tint that's on there. Just delete that. So we're going to leave color. So what we're going to do is we're going to select maybe the red from the flag. We're going to decolor the rest. Leave the red here. And you can adjust the tolerance level. See which one uses better. And you can get kind of a cool effect there with just having kind of the red hues. And you can adjust the tolerance to get rid of the track back there. And you know, decolor it. But we could do some cool effects there if we wanted to. But just to drop effects, all we do is we just take the effect, and let's go back to our tint effect and drop it on there, and then boom, we could have it, you know, starting off right there. So a lot of times you want to put your effects on based on your music and like how the feel is of stuff. So but I just wanted to show you how these worked. We could also go in, and if you're putting in a video transition, you can put a dip to white, and you can drop it in between. So if you notice right there, this transition, I'm going to just delete it. Just dip to white here. Just drop it there, and you can see that now there's that transition. Drop another dip to white here. Alright, and I could do this again, and I could keep on dropping these. Okay, and so those are the differences between video effects and video transitions. Okay, so alright, so now next what we're going to talk about is music, and so I'm going to stop this. This is part 3 of editing training in Premiere. So in the next training we're going to learn about adding music. We're going to tweak these effects, learn how to add some titles, and then finish our project. So there we go. That is editing training part 3.